To turn a fraction into a decimal, all you have to do is follow the 6-word rule. Divide top number by bottom number. Now, when it's time to do that, a lot of people are unsure which number to put inside the house and which number to put outside the house. So I like to think about a horse and a rider. Okay, so if the horse, of course, would be on bottom, the person riding the horse would be on top. So in this case, the 4 is the person. Now, when it's time to go in the house, who's going to go in the house? The rider or the horse? Of course it's the rider. So it's going to be the number on top. In this case, it's a 4. So we're going to put 4 in the house. And the horse has to stay outside the house, of course. It can't go inside. That would be silly. So now when we look at it, of course it looks a little strange because 5 does not go into 4. But that's actually what we want. Think about it. 4/5 is less than 1 whole. 5 does not go into 4, so we're going to get a number less than 1 whole. This is a good thing. All we need to do is add a 0 after our decimal point. Now think about it as 5 going into 40. How many times does it go in evenly? 8 times. And 8 times 5 is 40. When I subtract, I get no remainder, so that tells me I can stop dividing. And 5 goes into 4. 0.8 times. So therefore, 4/5 is equal to 0.8. Now, if we think about how to say this number properly, we would read it as 0 and 8/10. 8/10. Can't that also be written like this? 8/10. So what we're saying here is that 8/10 is equal to 4/5. Let's see if that's true. Here's 4/5, and here is 8/10. Well, to get the denominator of 5 to become 10, all we would do is multiply by 2. Let's see, is 4 times 2 truly equal to 8? Yeah, so indeed 4/5 really is equal to 8/10, and we can write 8/10 as a decimal like this. All right, now let's see how to change a mixed number into a fraction. All you have to do is the whole part is going to go to the left of the decimal, and the fractional part is going to go to the right of the decimal. So the whole number 33 goes in front of our decimal. This says 33 and 17/20. This says 33 and something. We're going to find out the decimal part in just a second. Let's go to the side and divide now. 17 divided by 20. Okay, which one is the man that gets to go in the house? 17 or 20? Yep, 17 goes in the house. Of course, the horse in this case is the 20. It has to stay outside. Now again, 20 does not go into 17, so we need to put 0. Add your decimal. And remember, anytime you have a decimal in a house, the decimal has to go on the roof too. So now we're going to add zeros because we can add 0 after a decimal. It doesn't change its value, just makes it a little easier to operate with. Now, there are a lot of ways to figure out how many 20s go into 170. I think it's easiest to just count by 20s. Watch this. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 160. You know what? If I go to 180, that would be too much. So now I know that 8 20s got me to 160. Okay? So that's as close as we can get to going into 170 without going over. 8 times 20, I just figured out, is 160. Of course, if I'm not sure, I could go to the side and do the actual math. 20 times 8, that's 0. 8 times 2 is 16. So it is true. 8 times 20 is 160. Now let's subtract. Okay? Because I have a remainder, it means I need to add a 0 and bring it down. Now I'm looking at 20 going into 100. Let's see how many times that goes in. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. Oh, perfect. 5 20s goes into 100 evenly. 5 times 20 is 100. When we subtract, we get a remainder of 0, so that means we can stop dividing. So now I see that 0.85 is equal to 17/20. So the decimal part of my number is written to the right of the decimal point. Now let's think about how we would read this. 33 and 85 hundredths. Listen to that. 85 hundredths can also be written as a fraction like this. We think it's equal to 17/20. Let's see if it is. Now if I think about this, if I take 100 and divide it into 5 groups, it gets me 20. Let's see if 85 divided by 5 gets me 17. To see if these truly are equal, I'm just going to go to the side to show this work. 85 divided by 5. 5 goes into 8 once, with 3 left over. 5 goes into 35 7 times, with none left over. So that tells us that sure enough, 85 hundredths really is equal to 17/20. Woohoo, we're done. So the whole number part goes in front of the decimal. The fractional part goes behind the decimal.